Johnson, and I serve as the director of the Chetton Woodbury Oral History Program here at Lausanne. With me is my colleague Terry Green, director of bands, and we have quite a show for you today. We are here to honor our veterans, those who have served in our armed forces. We at Lausanne feel that this is a very important part of what our students do in terms of both history and music here at the school. And as a result, we do oral history interviews and then send those interviews to the Library of Congress via the Veterans History Program. There is an American music component to the band's curriculum for the year that is very important as well. And so we just wanted to welcome you, and we hope you enjoy the show.
May everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention. Salute. Pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Okay, we have an extra special treat for you tonight. This is the Remembering World War II Living History performers from Linden, Tennessee. They are the Corder family and the Rainier family, directed by Mr. Anthony Corder and Miss Michelle Corder. And they started out 3 years ago doing World War II performances locally in Linden, and drove out here 6 hours to join us, and because they're expanding their performances to across the state of Tennessee. So everything you see from their clothes to the songs that they're going to be singing are all authentic to World War II time period.
Those Charged 2 or 3 times real bad. We finally come to the surface, and the back end of the submarine was practically underwater, and 3 cruisers and 4 Japanese destroyers come over the horizon. They saw us, but we couldn't dive, and they started throwing shells at us. And skipper said to abandon the ship. We got off the ship, and Japanese come along, and they dropped 2 depth charges among us when we were in the water. And I got blown way up in the water and got 2 pieces of shrapnel in my legs. And then they decided they'd pick us up. We was in the water about an hour, and they circled us. They shot at us a few times, and then they decided they'd pick us up. And they picked us up and put us on a destroyer. It took us the destroyer overnight, and we transferred us to a Dutch hospital ship they had captured. But they put us down in the hull of the hospital, and there was a whole bunch of Englishmen off a cruiser, about 600 in there, and kept us in there about 4 or 5 days. Then they captured this land island, and they took us over to Sleepy Island, took us off the hospital ship and put us in a Dutch army barracks. They'd camped, and then they locked us up in the barracks, and we was in there overnight, and then they let us out, said we could have a drink of water. I hadn't had anything to eat for 6 days or any water, and didn't have nothing. And of course we didn't have anything to eat with. They never did give us anything to eat with, or hardly anything to eat. We had to steal most of what we lived on. Next day we slip around and buy something from the Indies when the Japs wanted to watch it, and we made loot sacks, and we'd carry stuff in camp. They'd search us, clear down to your knees, but they never searched. So we made loot sacks, tied them on, and we carried in stuff like that. Then we brought in stuff for the sick people and our buddies in camp, so they'd have something to eat. It was a ongoing keep alive, I'll tell you that.
And so the 101st Infantry Division was holding Bastogne, and the German units went around them and came on up the road to where we were at Houffalize and attacked our position. And that's where these German patrols had come from. And these anti-aircraft unit men had set their machine guns up to fire at night. They'd set out stakes, so all they had to do was line up on the stakes they had lined up, and they knew where their fire was going. And they really mutilated these German patrols that came up. So we could hear them, the men, the injured Germans laid out there at night dying. We captured Germans, and I can truthfully say we treated them properly. We did not in any way mistreat them. We gave them something, gave them food and drink and cigarettes as they needed it. But on the last day, was the 23rd of December, and these German tanks from the 2nd German Assault Division were coming at us, and it was late in the evening, and we had been given an order that we could disperse, look out for ourselves. As I went back in our area, I decided that I'd better stay in the farmhouse because I could see that German tanks had knocked out of the tanks and the half tracks that were supporting us, and everything was on fire around us. And I decided it was best to wait out there, to wait inside the house. And I was in what would have been the living room of the house, and it turned dark, and everything around there, all of the vehicles and everything were on fire. But they had not hit the house, and not because the crossroads had been reported captured by the Germans. The British sent bombers over at night to bomb these positions, and this crossroads where we were one of the targets. And so they flew over during the middle of the night and bombed our division and hit this farmhouse. And it was wood flooring and wooden walls inside the house, but it's such a strong stone foundation that it resisted the bombs to the extent, but all of the wood inside the house caught on fire and burned up and fell down on the floor. And while we were under the floor in the basement, we used that wet coffee that was left in the grounds, left in that tub down there, to give us cover our breathing. And so we weathered the bombing, and the fire burned out. And the next day was the first day of bright sunshine that we'd seen, and we were down inside this basement with a little ventilating hole in the foundation. That's where all of the smoke that had come later was drawn out there. So in a way, God had protected us and given us a place to survive the bombing and the fire. But we stayed down there. This was the 24th of December. We stayed down there well into the afternoon. We could not hear a sound. There was not a voice or anything to lead us to believe that the Germans, were around us. So we had to know, though, that when those tanks came through our position, they brought infantry with them. But we did not hear a thing in the world. It was just as silent as it could be. It was so good to see the sunshine through that little vent in the basement foundation wall that about mid-afternoon we decided we'd go out. During the night, all of the ammunition boxes that had been stored back in that stairwell burned, and all the ammunition exploded during the fire, but it fell down on the basement floor, and that stone wall protected us from the blast of all that stuff. So we had survived the bombing and all of the ammunition explosion, and we stacked some stuff up and got up, and I led the way out of the basement. And although I should have known we were in the middle of Germans, and just a lack of experience, I didn't have any idea of what we faced. But as I walked out the hallway to the front of the home, I looked back in the kitchen, and there was a German that we both looked at each other and dropped our weapons on each other, and his was on safe and mine was on safe. So I ran out the front door and was outside in the front yard of the home, and the German went out through the kitchen, the garage, and I hollered at the rest of the guys that were coming out that there were Germans in the house. And I did not realize when I got outside, but the entire, must have been a German battalion, was in there, and they'd all crawled into our foxholes and trenches and gotten under all of the burned out equipment, and they hid them there from any of our airplanes that might have come over. And they heard the shots that the German guard and I had fired at each other. And when I saw all of these people, I could not imagine how in the world, we got where we were, but they apparently had been sleeping, waiting.
Went to Vietnam aboard the USS America, I was in one of the fighter squadrons aboard USS America flying F-4 Phantoms. The squadron was Fighter Squadron 33. And we got there in May. We participated in some of the what's called the linebacker operations, flying airstrikes and combat air patrol against North Vietnam and some into South Vietnam from May until November, when we actually, at the end of November, we got home in December.
Okay. Did you like win face to face with the opponent? Did you ask?
The only face to face, and you couldn't even really call it face to face, was a couple of air combat engagements while I was flying F-4s. I shot down a MiG-21.
Oh, congrats.
This is a MiG-21 model. I shot down one of those on July 10th, 1968, flying an F-4 Phantom like that. Two of us were sent in to intercept some MiG aircraft coming down from Hanoi. They were coming down to scatter and shoot down the bombers. And so we fighters, that's what we did. We protected the bombers and the strike aircraft. And we intercepted what we thought were going to be 2 MiG-21s. Turns out there were 4. But when I outmaneuvered and shot down the first one, which happened to be their leader,
yeah,
the other 3 just basically turned tail and ran. So that was not exactly face to face, but it was mano a mano kind of thing. And I shot him down, and he lived, by the way. He ejected. I saw him eject out of the aircraft and float down to the ground. And we found out later through intelligence his name, his rank. I can't pronounce his name, but that he lived, and that he had shot down some other Air Force aircraft. He had never shot down a Navy aircraft, and I wasn't going to be his first.
At Phu Bai Combat Base, it was the cutest 19-year-old girl working in the base laundry. I flirted with her all the time, and one day I came in to pick up my fatigues, and I said, "Where's whatever her name was?" And the guy said, not knowing that I spoke Vietnamese, he said in pidgin English, "Dead, VC." So I thought, silly me, that the VC had killed this beautiful young 19-year-old girl. And when I started talking Vietnamese with him, I found out that she was a VC who had been killed the night before attacking our perimeter on that base. And then in another instance at Quang Tri, some guards brought an old man to me, and I let my guard down. I interrogated him, and I said, "He's harmless." But a few nights later, he was caught doing some stuff that was not harmless. I was really smug about my ability to speak fluent Vietnamese, and I made friends with a young Vietnamese doctor on a fire base. And he lured me into a trap where there was a lot of shooting. And went down to a river to take a bath, and bullets were hitting the water, and the guards of the base did kill the VC. His name was Ronald Northrup. He was a 23-year-old kid, I think 23, from some little town in Kansas. He was a Nazarene kid, very wholesome. And yeah, I was sent out I was between Phu Bai for some reason and Quang Tri. I was on a very temporary mission, and they said, "You need to go to Saigon." They needed an interpreter translator now. And he just begged. He says, "Oh, Epstein, let me go." I said, "Northrup, I'm not in charge of this army. You go ask, the senior NCO or the captain or somebody." And he went, and the very next day, I was in a barracks. That day, one of the mamazans, one of the maids came up and said, Ong Nin Chet, Mr. They call Northrup Nin, dead. And I said, "Where are you getting this information?" And so I said, "Some mama-san just told me Northrup." That was true. He was stabbed 40 times, stabbed to death in Saigon, murdered.
What was your job as an interpreter exactly? You mentioned you would receive and interpret or translate North Vietnamese signals. Was that the entirety of it, or was there perhaps any more you can give?
Well, there's some that's just too classified to talk about, but even that was a violation of international treaties. And I think I told you, just by virtue of having a very sophisticated radio as one of my tools, as did the Lingy, as did the Crippies and the Diddy Boppers, I was privy to hearing a whole lot of terrible things going on when a firebase was being overrun and a warrant officer pilot was ordered don't land by a captain who was down there telling them they were getting beat to heck. And the guy was playing John Wayne, very brave and macho. I'm belaying that order, sir, as in I'm going. And I could hear his chopper being blown to bits and everybody in it yelling before they died. And I was able to monitor some Army Ranger activity when they had really exfiltrated into North Vietnam across the Ben Hai River. And they had these little special radios, and I heard, you know, the recon guys whispering, "They're getting close, they're about 30 meters away." And I'm going, oh God, he says, "They're 10 meters away, can't talk anymore." And then you could hear the firefight beginning, pop, 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 because they were discovered. I think that had a happy ending. I think the Rangers were extracted without, with only a couple of wounded, and they killed quite a few in VA.
And I am a freshman here at Lausanne. Recently, I have had the privilege to interview Mr. Robert Rose for Lausanne's Oral History program. He achieved the rank of Gunner's Mate 3rd Class and served for the United States Navy during World War II. He was kind enough to share some experiences during like what life was like on deck, and after the war, he even witnessed the nuclear testings at Bikini Atoll. It was very interesting learning about his experiences, and listening to the other stories is definitely much better than reading a textbook, as there is simply no better way of learning. As a representative for many students, we are truly grateful to be exposed by the veterans' experiences, as it lets the students nowadays become more aware of that piece of history. Therefore, I would highly suggest anyone with this opportunity to take advantage of it. Thank you.
Good evening. For my own History Day project, I had the unique privilege of interviewing Navy Corpsman John Stacy, who served on the USS Kitty Hawk during the Iran hostage crisis. Along with his fellow crew members, Corpsman Stacy stood on standby, awaiting orders, and although they never came through, his sense of service and call to duty were undeniable. As we discussed, he talked about the night in which they were told that they were no longer going home, but instead would be heading to the Persian Gulf to provide military assistance. Through speaking with Corpsman Stacy, I now have a greater understanding of what true service and duty are, and how a 17-year-old who stood at 5'5" in Millington, Tennessee at the time when he enlisted could make a difference far beyond the home front. Speaking with Mr. Stacy has been a true honor and blessing, and his first-hand account gave more insight and perspective than any history textbook could. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Afif Shokat, and I'm currently a junior here at Lausanne. I participated in the Oral History College issue, and it was an exciting and beautiful project for me. I chose to interview a Vietnam War veteran because Vietnam War is such an interesting topic. So you can't imagine how I felt meeting a veteran who served in the war face to face. I interviewed a great Vietnam War veteran named Captain Boyd Cash. He served in the U.S. Navy during the war. I really enjoyed interviewing him because his experiences in the war really captivated me. I mean, really, you can't get any better information than from a veteran who participated in the war. I learned so much more from Mr. Cash about the Vietnam War, and than any of the history textbooks I've read in the past. He was also Johnny Cash's nephew. I mean, you can't get any better stuff than that. People don't actually realize what getting to do one of these interviews really is. I mean, you would really have to be so naive to give up this great opportunity. Maybe I should use this interview to study for history quizzes when I'm tested about the Vietnam War. Not only have I learned many interesting things from Mr. Cash about the war, but I feel like I can make a difference in his life by interviewing him and submitting his story to the Library of Congress. I felt like interviewing him is a way to say thank you for the effort in the war. I still can't get over that I actually met someone who relates to Johnny Cash. I was proud that Mr. Cash was able to represent our country well in Vietnam. Again, I appreciate his tremendous effort as a soldier and dedication for fighting for freedom in the war. I want to thank you all for your time. God bless you guys to live. And Captain Cash is here tonight, so do you want to stand up?
One more plane was missing, and all its
Next on the program, we'd like to recognize the veterans and patrons of veterans in the audience. When you hear your military branches anthem, would you please stand? Or if you're unable to stand, would you raise your hand so you can be recognized? This next selection is entitled Armed Forces, the Pride of America.